home deaths and hospital deaths. And there's so many scenarios that I'm not going to be able to cover all of them in this one video. Let's say that somebody is dying at home. Let's call this person Joey. Joey is dying at home, and Joey has 2 people that live in the house with him, and they've been taking care of him. I have a couple of videos on physical care and comfort care that are out there. So let's say these 2 people are taking care of him and he dies in the home. Let's assume that the doctor knew it was a COVID death, and so the medical examiner would not have to be brought in. Somebody's still going to have to pronounce the individual dead. In my book, a home funeral under that circumstance could still happen because the people who are caring for him have been exposed, and there's no more threat. You can take care of the body, you could dress the body, and although you couldn't have anyone come in from the outside, there couldn't be any other family members or friends or neighbors, because they may or may not have been exposed to it, and we don't want to expose them. However, the warm weather is coming up. You could possibly bring them outside and maybe one at a time have people come through and pay their respects. I just don't want to shut the door fully on the possibility of home funerals at this time. I will say, though, that it's not going to be possible in a lot of circumstances. Just in case your loved one is going to die at home, or you think they may die at home, get some things in place ahead of time. It may take longer for the person to come pronounce them dead. So there's something called Techni Ice. They're Techni Ice sheets. They're sheets of ice that are kind of flexible. You can get them on Amazon, and there are a bunch of other brands also that you can get. They're these like little pockets of ice, and you can fit that around the body. I can do a video about that too. But you'll want to cool or ice, maybe even freeze. You don't usually want to freeze the body, just keep it cool, but in this circumstance, I think it's okay, to stop any respiratory, any exhalations from the body. So with gas buildup, sometimes the body just releases air. One of the things that you do typically to remove the air from the lungs is you push on their lungs. You push on the lungs, and that also gets any fluid out from their lungs so that it doesn't drip later, something like that. But that is not recommended at this point. You do not apply that pressure on the chest. And actually freezing, keeping very cold the corpse, the neck area at that point is considered good, healthy. There are guides right now on the National Home Funeral Alliance page, their website. But if you've never done a home funeral before, or you're nervous, or you're really healthy, you were not exposed to the person who was just dying, I think we just kind of have to work with what we can at this point while still remaining safe. Let's say you have to send your loved one to the hospital. So at this point, when you send your loved one to the hospital and it is because they have COVID, you need to say goodbye to them. You need to say goodbye to them because you may not see them alive again. You may not see their body again at all. So when you send somebody to the hospital, you put them in the hands of the doctors and nurses and LNAs, and they are going to do the very best they possibly can with your loved one. But you're not going to be able to go in. You're not going to be able to accompany them. They might not be able to text you to tell you that they're okay. They might not, you might not be able to call the floor and ask the staff, how is so-and-so doing? It's probably not going to be possible. So you're sending them off on an adventure. They go in there. It's a different realm. It's a different universe in there. And they will have their own adventure in there, their own time in there. And that's their reality. And yours would be out here on the outside. Could be the reverse, though. It could be you going in there. But if you're the one going in there, your mind frame is a little bit different. My guess is you're not going to be longing for the people that you're leaving. You're going to be focused on this internal work that you need to be doing to stay alive. So just keep that in mind if your loved one is not gushing at you when you're sobbing, saying goodbye to them when you send them in. So typically, in Vermont, you have the right to pick up your own deceased and to either bring them yourself to the crematorium, to the burial site, home for a home funeral. You can cart your dead around in Vermont with the correct paperwork. However, this may or may not be possible if your loved one dies in the hospital. So you sent that paperwork in with them, right? The advance directive. On there should be your desire in that packet. You should also have on there that you would like to pick them up yourself. So any advance notice that you can give the hospital would be helpful. Say, if this person dies, I would like to pick up their body after. I don't know if they'll be able to respond to you at that time. They might not know. They're just, admitting them. But put that out there right away. I was even saying that if it's me that goes to the hospital, I'm going to write home across my chest to try and make sure that my family can come pick up my body. When you send them in, send them with things that can be easily sanitized. So send them, first of all, you should sanitize it before you send them in there with with them anyway. So if it's a book, wipe it off with some sterile wipes if you have them. Wipe off their phone, their headphones, any mala beads or rosary beads, whatever it happens to be that they're taking in with them. Send them with lip balm so that their lips don't get all dry. Pack a bag for them so that they have some items to comfort themselves, to occupy their minds if they're not on a respirator and they're just, waiting for one. Headphones, earbuds, something to create a sound space for them. That helps to block out everything else that's going on, even a face mask. So I can't guarantee that they will allow these things in with them, but you sure as heck can try, okay? And the more you advocate for yourself, the more, and your loved one, the more you try to convince the staff, I cleaned everything. Here it is. Feel free to, they will clean it again, but to just actually be proactive and show them that you're on top of this, I think will be helpful. The same goes for if your loved one dies in the hospital. Now, every hospital has their own protocol at this point, but you can try to pick them up from the hospital. Now, you're going to have to be, I know at least one hospital is screening people. So they're taking their temperature and there's a series of questions before they're even allowing you to do the pickup at all. So if you've already been exposed, if you've been living with a person, I have no idea if they're going to let you in or not. Because even if you're not sick, you may not be showing signs. I don't know. I do know that, at least according to one hospital, they're releasing the body in a body bag, of course, that they have wiped down with these really heavy-duty sterile wipes. And they're requiring that the person doing the pickup is screened, health screened. Also that they have gloves and masks at the bare minimum. So this is important for you to know. Funeral homes, some of them are double bagging their bodies. You would want to probably use a tarp, something so that when you put the body in, the back of your truck would pretty much be ideal, that you have full gear, full protection. You can pick up the bag and put it onto something where you then don't have to clean that surface afterwards. So this takes a lot of preparing. This can't really be done at the last second at this point and still have it be safe. So if these are some of the things that you would like to do, you have to start planning now. It's not morbid, it's practical. And keep in mind that, what's in the bag, even though the body itself, is not a danger necessarily, because this is a disease that is spread through air droplets in the air. Even when you move the body, it does breathe. So inside the bag could have tons of the virus in there. So even if you have gloves and mask, even goggles, even if you have like a full suit on, you put them in the body bag, into your tarp, into the back of your truck, and you get them home, you're not done. That's not done yet. If you, and I mean safety wise, you could then bring it with advanced planning directly to a burial ground. Green burials are still happening. There are 4 hybrid burial grounds or hybrid cemeteries that are green burials in the state of Vermont. I talked to one of them and also checked the Green Burial Council, and they're all still open to burials. The body's not toxic to the point where it has to be cremated. So that those are an option for which you don't have to embalm. Again, it's a lot of questions to a lot of different people and places. And if you're skipping a funeral home, funeral homes won't necessarily help you if you are trying to do this on your own. In fact, I think they'll probably hang up on you. So you'll have to be doing a lot of this work yourself. There are a couple of crematoriums that accept bodies directly from families, and I know that one of them is accepting bodies, but it must be, from family directed funerals, but it must be in a bag before it goes into the cardboard box. No just bodies going into the box. They want it completely shrouded or still within the hospital bag. So that's a little bit of information that I can give to you right now on home death, home funeral, entering a hospital deaths. So what then to do with yourself and your mind when you're losing your mind and there's absolutely nothing you can do? That happens. So breathe. If you have the gift of breath, use it.